All right. All right. It's Monday. I think everything's going good here. Got my stuff all lined up. How are y'all doing? How are we all today? I see a lot of people talking in the chat. Looks like some people complaining about me not responding. Ooh, in Reddit. Ouch, yeah. It's been a while since I've been on Reddit. 3 years. Probably stopped going on about 4 years ago. But hey, that's perfect. We'll go through a whole timeline of this adventure before we get into too much of the new stuff, because there's a lot of cool things I want to talk to you all about. Let me get things situated. Thank you for showing up today. Make sure that the jazz is not cranked too loud. We want it to be there a little bit. So I'll set the headphones down. How is everybody on this wonderful Monday? Hope life's treating you well. Looks like the stream is live. Looks like we've got some folks in the chat and already some questions, which is great, which if I can remember this Plum Nebula, I'll get to that question here in a second, because I can give you a little hint, but it's going to be a difficult thing to ultimately track down the exact thing wrong with your BVM. Anyway, welcome in. Thank you guys. I'm Steve. If you're new here, this is Retro Tech. This is my lovely CRT shop. This is my third CRT shop. I'm going to run down the whole history here. I'm going to tell you how my first month at this new location has been. I'm going to go through everything. Look at this. I prepared. I have a full page of notes. I have the big whiteboard behind me. We are live. It is a Monday. It is June 3rd, and it's time for the shareholder meeting, right? So that's what I'm going to consider this little thing. Let's do it like a shareholder meeting. Let's have some fun. What's up, Ronnie? Hey, Woody's Wisdom. Hey, Mark. Yes, thank you, sir. Rob Cat, welcome in, everybody. Welcome in today. If you haven't already, hit the like button for me so we can get everybody notified the stream is going. And then I'll get into some things here on the agenda, and we'll kind of go through, again, the adventures of the CRT shop. We'll go through the history a little bit of this specific adventure, Retro Tech. And hopefully we'll have another wonderful Monday. And most excitingly, maybe I can explain to you some of the new things that are eventually going to be coming. Coming to the shop, coming to the internet, coming everywhere. So there's your soundbite. There's your soundbite, internet. There's your soundbite for the day. Welcome. Welcome to Figuron. Okay. Month number one. What a glorious, wonderful month. Got the big board behind me. I tried to put it in view here. So we do have a view with this. We have a view here. Let's look at some history here. Let's look at some history. I can't believe it. I was looking back, and my goodness, it has been 6 years. 6 years of solid CRT content. That's how long I've been doing this now. Can you believe it? On YouTube. 6 years ago, this video, I did a couple of videos prior to this point, 4 of them. But right here, this 2030 set of videos kind of is what made me get started. And then I started going and never really turned back. That's when I started. There's, wow, gosh, 5 years ago. Look at all that stuff. Just really low-end quality man with a cell phone and a dream, and a lot heavier. A lot heavier back in that day. So 6 years ago, now it took me about 4 years to get to that point where I was working on CRT. So believe it or not, it's only about 10 years. 10 years ago when I first started tinkering inside these wonderful machines. Thanks, Final Boss and Ronnie. I do enjoy the new spot. Being above ground helps tremendously when it comes to lighting. So that's just a little bit of a history lesson. Okay. Now, more recent content can be found. You know, we've got everything situated now from 2022, 23, and 24 as far as seasons are going in these playlists here on the channel. And that's it. So we're live now, and let's get back over here. We'll talk about some stuff, all right? We'll talk about some stuff. First off, we did have a cool situation where I had a question from Plum Nebula about a D9 he got for $100. So let's answer this question, asking about it turning on and off. Look, the problem with a BVM is there's a lot of safety features, okay? So when a safety feature may kick in, there may be some small fault causing the whole thing to just shut down. And so it could be really anything when it comes to a BVM. You have to really go and methodically check pretty much the whole BVM out, board by board, eventually find something. Unless it's giving you a blinking pattern, then maybe you can refer to something in the service manual. Otherwise, you'll troubleshoot. If I were you, I would start with the neck board. Those have very poor solder, and also be very mindful of the pins going into the tube. Oh yeah. That's going to be your problem then. It's going to be just solder. It's going to be solder problems most likely, and broken down components, traces. So, I don't know. You'll have to open it up and really start poking around. That's the bad thing on there. But anyway, let's talk about this. Look at this. How are we doing out there in TV land? Let's move over here. Look at this. We got another view here. We can talk about things. Talk about things. This move, baby. Smooth, right? Look at this. I got the lower resolution. The lower resolution 30 FPS upscale to 60 FPS. Right here. Okay? Month number 1. This is the new CRT Shop. So back when I started things, I was working out of my garage. And that's 6 years ago. To 10 years ago. And then up until late 2020, almost 2021, 2022. Gosh, it's hard to remember. So I want to say it was like 2021-ish when I finally moved up here to Virginia. And that's when I have my second shop, which you've seen now in the basement. Bunker all started there. The dark, grungy underdepths of the internet. And that's where all this started. And Mark, yeah, it's a different computer. Much better. Much more powerful. It doesn't have more cameras, though. It only has 2. But it does have a better USB board, better motherboard, and everything. Seems to be working fine. So, the new shop, first month done. Let's talk about it. I got it here. The good. The good. Let's talk about it. Month number 1, the move. Let's talk about the move, man. It is. Let me see. No, it says here it's coming from the mic. Turn down that audio right there. Shouldn't be turned. I don't think any mic's got. Maybe it just sounds awful. Maybe it just sounds like that, Mark. I just haven't maybe gone through and tightened it up all. Or I was talking like sideways to it. All right, let's talk about it. Month number 1. So this is it. This is your behind the scenes, what it's like to be. Hey, Sam. What it's like to be CRT man. Shop owner. Okay. So first off, a big part of this whole thing was my move. I'll probably just switch between cameras sometimes just to make it a little bit more interesting for you watchers at home. The good about the move went pretty smoothly. I did only have to move a few miles across town. I had nothing that broke. So that's pretty much an extremely wonderful thing. I had a lot of challenges in the move. I completely underestimated the amount of stuff I still had. I thought I had less than I did have. And I overestimated my ability at this point to still move things all day, every day, and not be tired and try to also worry about working and things. Hey, Zontar. And it was brutal. I overestimated my personal abilities, underestimated the amount of stuff I had. I did hire a couple of guys, but I only had them for about 4 hours to help me. I rented a truck on my own. I was trying to limit my costs on the move. It was 5 miles, the distance between my old place and my new place, practically. So very close to where I was moving. Now, when I moved out of the bunker, some of you will remember I had my Neo Geo, my big Neo Geo cab down there, the MVS 4 slot, and I wasn't going to leave that in the house, but it was in the basement, and there's no outdoor basement access in this place, so I had to actually push this thing. I did by myself somehow, safely got it out of the basement after I cleared everything inside of it out. So it's in another building here right now in storage. It will come back. It will come back, okay? And so it's over there. It's fine. A lot of my other stuff is, again, on site in storage. But I did have to have somebody, you know, and that all went well. Now, again, the bad part of the moving was overestimating my personal ability to just do it myself and underestimating how much stuff I had and how hard it was going to be. So I do have a couple of tips. Some people said they're actually moving. So definitely, I would suggest you hire help. Don't just rely on your friends. I don't even actually have anybody good enough in this area that I felt like I was going to spring on them to move at this point. Once you get 40 years old, everybody gets to the point where you're more afraid that somebody's going to get hurt. And that would be awful to have somebody get hurt moving your stuff and affect them. So hire help. A big tip I can give you is move on a weekday if it's possible. I wasn't able to move except on a Friday, which unfortunately counts as the weekend. So that actually caused me to have a more limited access. I had to get a tinier truck than I wanted to. And then it also caused my rates to be a little bit higher on everything moving on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Everybody charges a little bit more for those days. And of course, holidays, I'm sure it's the same way. But if you want my advice on moving, do it on days that are not holidays and not the weekend, Monday through Thursday. If it's possible, you'll save at least, I'd bet, 20% off your costs. Oh goodness, a couple other challenges. Of course, with moving is slow unpacking, and it's hard to find things. I can't tell you how many times I've actually been looking for a single thing to set something up. Now, luckily, I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a second as I switch over to a couple more good things. Luckily, I was able to find everything I needed to because I left it out, but there's a lot of things it just took me forever to actually locate where I'd put them in a bin somewhere and then be able to find one item. I'm still looking for a couple things, and I don't know if I'll find them or if I just lost them. But I've got most of the things unpacked almost. I'm at like 90%, which is really good. For 1 month, I feel like. So that's all kind of the good stuff. And pretty much the new shop has opened right on schedule, which is awesome. I was hoping that things would go pretty smoothly, and they have, thankfully, for the most part. There's not been any... it's actually been a lot easier. For example, I didn't have to get power out here. And this room we're in right now, it's not big, obviously. Look at this. I mean, I can touch both walls. But there's a window right there that you cannot see. There's a window right here that you cannot see, which obviously helps with lighting. There's light right overhead of here. It's got it's wood walls, so it's not like, anything's going to get... Its sound is kind of decent. But it was all set up like this. The power outlets are good. The power out in this building is really good. And it's insulated. And the only thing was I was going to have to get the internet out here. And I've been able to figure it out pretty well to this point. I've got a good wireless mesh going at the house that extends out to the building. And then when I do live streams or video uploads, I just run a 100-foot cable out the door right here to one of the wire mesh points closest to the house, which is about 100 feet away. So it works perfectly. Don't have to do anything else. So I got lucky with all that stuff. Everything's been working as soon as I set it up in here. And I've got a really good system. All the tools are fitting in here nicely. All that has been great. The lighting and audio, I think, are pretty acceptable for now. Of course, I'm going to constantly be improving. I think I can add some stuff here in the studio to make it look a little bit better and like sound a little bit better than it has. So maybe some foam around the walls. Let's see, anything else here that's really not, then we're going to get into really good stuff like jobs and things we've been able to do besides just moving this first month. Because as I said, I was able to keep on schedule for things, and that's help go into a point now where we have the jobs that I was able to complete, and I'll go run through them, but I'm going to pull up the job folders so I can show you some media, so I'm not just talking to you about these things. And we will discuss just briefly some of them and maybe a little bit more detail on some others. We got a 20 M4U restoration file, and then so as I pull these up, I'll show you just some quick files on them. There we go. That was completed in May. One more. So I only had 3 jobs in May, which is honestly, well, with the move. Ronnie, that's a good, so we'll talk about that. Yeah, if you guys have questions, about stuff, definitely leave them in the chat as we go. I'll be glad to answer any questions about the shop and things. But I thought there would be mice around here, but the funny thing is it's not mice. I thought they were mice. I saw a bunch of them running around, and it turns out they're chipmunks. And I don't know, I haven't seen a single mouse out here, but there's a ton of chipmunks running around here. And they just run around all over the place, and they don't really go inside. They have like no desire to come inside the house. They'll eat like bird seeds, and they do dig holes, tiny holes, and I think they're building tunnels behind like the houses, and it's not really a big deal. It's actually cooler than having mice. I was worried because I saw like half a dozen run out of a tunnel one day, and then I realized they were chipmunks. Yeah, actually, Mark, good point. We don't want to have fire hazards, so there are a lot of fire extinguishers around here too. I want to make sure everybody knows that. I always do that. But I've been trying to catch them on film, and they are so quick, the chipmunks. It's like the cutest thing you'll ever see. So yeah, 3 jobs completed. Now, normally I try to do, yeah, they'll definitely dig under stuff, right? That's what I noticed. I was like, they are some digging sons of guns, Dante. So I guess the idea would be, I don't know. I don't really want to kill them all because I don't want to disrupt the ecosystem too much. I was thinking there's some things I hate about it. There's some things I don't mind. So anyway, getting off topic here. Let's go back to these jobs that have been completed. We're going to go in order here. And the last one is the Hyundai, and actually we're going to get it shipped out hopefully in the next day or so. Because I have U-Ship actually has gotten in touch with me, and we've got that one. All right, I got them pulled up. All right, here we go. We'll just go through some pictures on each of them since we're going to breeze through. We're going to breeze through these photos here, and that way we don't get hung up too much on it. But I do want to show it as kind of, again, how things are going in the shop here. This is all good. This is fine. I'm going to pull this up a little bit so I don't have to like have your screen full of nonsense. Do it like that, and then maybe I'll just expand that, make it a little bigger for you. So started on April 20th, but ultimately finished, I imagine, around the beginning of May. Okay, this is the big Sony. This is the one that had the video about, I mean, the most recent video, the RGB Mux. Okay. Tons of photos here. I think I've even breezed through these before, so I'm not going to take a lot of time. It had to be fully restored. There's a full video on it. There's an article for Retro RGB on it. But this is the file of all the photos. I don't know what's going on here. Let's skip that photo if we can. There we go. Anyway, logged everything, all the recap, all the mod work. Eventually we'll get down into that. So this was my first go at the Sunthar kit. This is actually just the restoration picture here. Cap kit. People were asking this. I will mention this, okay? Look at this picture right here, for example, around this resistor and this diode, okay? Now this is obviously a spot that gets really hot, and you're gonna find this on CRTs a lot. These resistors get so hot. Your best approach is to clean out the area, replace the solder. You actually take out the old solder, replace it, make sure the parts are still good and intact and not failing at all. But you're going to have these zones where it got really hot if the CRT was used at all. This one was. It's obvious. There we go. So that happens. All right, we're going to keep going on. Dun, 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 dun. There's the RGB installation. I did like using the kit. Again, if you want more details on this, go check out the post at Retro RGB. I actually made a whole guide on there for it. And that was the first job. Let's go down here. And you can see the finished product, right? Really good looking. I mean, this was after the fact, but still, for a 36-inch consumer set, to get that tight of convergence in the corners is really amazing. Because I've had professional monitors that don't look this good along the edges. I know you're like, oh, if you're a perfectionist, that might drive you crazy. But again, we're not dealing with perfection. We're dealing with analog video in a huge tube. I mean, you can get this tighter, obviously, on like a 14-inch, 20-inch CRT that's got a lot of hardware in it. But to have that on a 36-inch is amazing. And this is what it looks like when you actually play it. And that was job number one, the big one that started in April and finished in May. And there's the SCART input right there. That was fun to install under there. Well, I almost chopped my hand off trying to get that installed. All right, so that was job number one. Okay, and if you want to see more on that, you can go back to the channel and check out that. The other job, first one in here, in the shop fully, was a 20M4U standard restoration. We'll just roll through some photos here on this restoration. First off the neck board, we go in, we replace the capacitors, and then reflow all the solder and clean the board. There it is. This is just photos of the inside of the CRT. Now you'll notice there's the SDI board on this, which is different. Most of these monitors do not have this SDI board. I'm kind of like heads or tails. Usually if I see this thing in a PVM and it's not, you're not usually going to use this thing. I just take it out because it's extra weight in the CRT unless somebody wants it. If they ask me my opinion, I tell them to get rid of it. Power supply. So here's the main board. Hey, Chris, Brandon, welcome in, everybody. Oh, that's a cool point, Zontar. Said you can upgrade the rate of resistor wattage to prevent so much heat and further damage that board. Yeah, that's probably a good idea to experiment with. And it'll also prevent further damage, you're right. And a lot of these things were designed with things such as economy in mind, where they're trying to save money. Here's the main board. Cap kit. That's what this is. Cap kit and solder reflow. Those are all the capacitors in the kit. Now this board obviously like has the opposite effect, right? There's nothing burnt on this board. It's designed nicely. No burns, but I still reflow solder, especially on, look at that. I reflow the solder on the flyback, any resist or transistors over in this area are transformers. That's been reflowed. And same thing over here. Like there are some inductor coils. Sometimes they can get loose and vibrate and make noises. So one of the things I do to kind of prevent that is, or help with that, is I try to reflow that solder, because that way hopefully the thing shakes less and maybe we can prevent some of that breakdown from happening. Because those parts, the actual inductors on the board, are these coils right here, and these are custom Sony parts. See how they say Sony on them? That's the top side of that part right there. And there's the other one, that coil right there. And these coils are a pain to... You got to source them from pretty much broken monitors. Okay, get through this. This is the power supply again. We can inspect it afterwards. This is after servicing, replacing the capacitors, and there's no burn marks. This is, I usually reflow solder on this entire board also, and then clean it. Just wanted to try to give it a chance to last as long as possible. Here is one of the other things I tried to do. I tried to install some magnets on the back of here because there was an issue with purity. And unfortunately, I got it balanced out here in the shop, but the customer actually was not able to get it balanced out at their place. It was, something was going on, and it may have been an effect from the card here. Like I tried it with and without it. To try to see if it was any improvement, but there you go. Okay, there's the 20M4 whole kit done. And then finally, there was this one, which probably will have a video coming, I believe, soon. That's the Hyundai. This Hyundai PC CRT, which I did do a stream on it. Doing some of the restoration on it. Needed a full recap. And tell you, the biggest issue usually is getting inside these, getting inside the shell and accessing, this is the point right here, accessing the actual circuit boards. This was pretty much a Samsung CRT. Everything was made by Samsung. All the parts, even some of the capacitors. There's the neck board. There's the inside. That's one main board there that has the power supply, as well as deflection and all the other functionality. There is some input functionality actually on this board here, which is our neck board. And that's the issue. These neck boards are very complex. So we recapped that one because it's a hot one. It's got this chip on here that really gets the heat going, that IC. There you go. All that redone, recapped, reflowed, solder on everything. And it's serviced. And I started going through and checking on my work and making sure everything was good by adding a mark back to the CRTs or the caps afterwards. So this is what the board looks like. Again, reflowed solder on a lot of points here. This was a spot that had actually been tampered with before that I found, and I had to try to clean that up. That's after I cleaned it up. It looked awful originally, but that's it. Back together again. And of course, when you get all this back together again and you test it out, you want to use Dreamcast. That's what I did. Use the Dreamcast to calibrate it. So there's that. I don't want to go too much into this because this video hasn't come out yet. That's just a taste of it, right? And then, yeah, bam. Now, I will tell you, it had this kind of extremely bright look. I couldn't get the... I adjusted it according to everything. I couldn't get it to like look super dark. Yeah, I'm in Virginia. I'm in Virginia. So if you want to get it in, yeah, unfortunately, this is not a cheap hobby, you know? You got to like use shipping, which is, again, this last one you just saw is being shipped via U-Ship. So let me change the camera view over here before I forget what I'm doing. There we go. There we go. So those were the 3 jobs that I got to complete. Other things that happened. No injuries. Now, the last job you just saw is being done by U-Ship, and it's going to West Virginia. At the end of the thing, it's costing $200 to go that far from here. Generally speaking, they're about $200 if they go to the Mississippi River from here and north and south of here. The further away, the more you have to pay. But that's about how much it generally goes on average through U-Ship. Yeah, man. It's like, I think people get the wrong idea. You know, like other things, it's at least you don't have to, well, I don't want to say all that because people buy BVMs know that you can spend a lot of money and those things can cost a lot of money. It's like boats, right? Motorcycles, classic anything, classic cars. All right. Oh, that's all good. No injuries. Always fun, right? Had some amazing fun live shows this month or last month. The fun show with 8-Bit Esquire, the nighttime show. I'd like to do that more often. Maybe once a month if I can line those up with some guests, some people from the community. 2 good video premieres. And I don't know what else there is on here to talk about. Let's see. As far as the move in the month, those were the 3 jobs. Then we can talk about some new stuff here in a second. So let's take a second here, catch up on the chat. How's everybody doing? If you've been enjoying the show, throw me a like. I have no idea if this kind of show is resonating with anybody. It looks like, you know, we shall see. Because I do have some changes now, and I want to kind of cross over into this kind of a discussion now. Because I want some new stuff. We got some new stuff. The broken PV in my thumbnail. Okay. Yeah, that'd be cool, Ronnie, too. I've been actually, that's part of like this new stuff. Here's what, that's actually an idea I have here, okay? Mark, that messed up PVM is a 14N something. That somebody brought to the shop and they thought about getting it fixed, but it would have cost more money. But I found a bezel. So one time when I have some time, we're going to go in and fix that thing because it's got some board problems. Hopefully we can fix it and mod it with Martin's RGB kit. So we'll try that. But if somebody dropped it and brought it. Okay. Let's talk about the new stuff, okay? Let's talk about the new stuff. All right. New stuff, new stuff, new stuff, new stuff, new stuff. Here we go. I am going to try to get a episode out on something good. I have 3 in the works. 3 episodes already kind of in production, but the next premiere hopefully will be this Friday, so I can keep on this track of Fridays at about noon, June 7th. For anybody who cares, thank you everybody who shows up to those premieres. It does help. It does help. The next thing is I'm actually going to make a new channel. Okay, this is the first I've said about this. I'm going to say it. I'm going to make some other announcements about it. I don't have a name for it. It might just be Retro Tech 2. It might be the Bunker Retro Tech. It's something. I don't have any idea quite yet. If anybody has any cool ideas, you could send it to me on Twitter or something. But here's the thing. I have a few more things, like there's more detailed targeted content that I need to make, okay? And that's less concentrated on things that are going to screw up the main channel, this channel. I need to have a place to go drop stuff that's not going to be as edited, that's going to be more me discussing some things in depth that will be much more helpful to people that are actually looking for something specific. And I don't want it to be worried about anything like algorithms and the channel. I want this channel to kind of I want to try to make, I know it's a normal thing, but it's kind of like I can't just keep doing everything on the main channel here and not expected to kind of impact it. I don't want to think about things and not bringing you guys information that is important. So that's going to solve that. So look for that. I will let you all know. I will announce the crap out of it. And then I will have a video there. And the way I'm really going to get this going is I put it here. Yeah, less editing, more raw video stuff. But also, I'm going to get this thing, the ball rolling with Q&A episodes, just like our good friend Bob over at Retro RGB. And this is an idea I've been scratching for a long time. And I figure, the best way to tell somebody they do something awesome, thank you, Bob, is that imitating it. So this was his idea to start with. So I'm going to do the same thing. And the way I'm going to do this is I've got a ton of questions built up here from my Patreon. And this is a Patreon benefit. So you send me a question on Patreon, I'm going to send you, usually I just type back an answer, but I think it's going to be much more beneficial if you ask me a question about your CRT or something, for me to do a little video clip like Bob does about your answer. So I will do that. And I'm going to publish this content to the new channel, and I'm going to have it like, I'll do it as needed. So hopefully it'll be like weekly, maybe bi-weekly. And that's immediately going to give fresh, good content to the other channel and help it, have something there to watch and have a place to go to land. And so that's going to be the thing. It's like the Q&A sessions I'll work through. They'll be more like this, like us talking. I'll be answering the question. I'll pull up the question on a sidebar, and then we'll just flip through each question each week or month or whatever. And that way it'll be much more helpful to Q&A for the Patreon members, but also I think a lot of people will still want to go back and watch and maybe run into some of these issues that are discussed on these points. And I don't want it, again, to mess with the algorithm of the regular channel. So what that will be, again, is more tailored, detailed, targeted content. Not so worried about editing. There's going to be the Q&A Patreon episodes. And then once I get available, I'm going to do the live streams over on this second channel. Most of them. I still am going to do like a couple of extremely scheduled, they're coming live streams on this channel. Probably between 2 to 3 every month. And then I will do random other streams for everybody else who wants it at these other channel. And that's what this other channel is going to be. It's just it's going to be a good thing. It's going to give me an opportunity to get more creative again, not worry about impacting the integrity of the Retro Tech channel that I've spent 6 years building here. And I really think it's going to be a good thing. So I hope that yeah, 19 cupcake. I hope that kind of explains a good roadmap of what I want to do with this new channel. I would expect this thing. I've been saving up questions from about last Thursday on for this. Really good questions. And so I'm going to roll through those questions on the Q&A and then, work to build that channel. And we're going to get this thing rolling, hopefully as soon as possible. I'm not going to wait. Hopefully it doesn't take me more than a week to get this all ball situated. and launched with some things on there. And so I would just recommend that once you find that channel, go over there and subscribe to it. And if you really like all this stuff, and you'll just see more things there. And it won't be, you know, it'll be advertiser free for the most part. Absolutely, because it's going to be a newer channel. And it's also going to be a good way to back up things. If anything ever happens, that's what it's hard, Chris. This is an interesting thing about, right, YouTube. You want to have things that kind of are on a broader basis to not be too long, not be too detailed, and not be too less detailed. It's like this perfect mix of things to try to get there you go. I like that, Mark. I try to get it, you know, somewhere in this happy medium of being a little bit still captivating on an entertainment and educational level. So I think that with this, we can go into things and get completely deep on educational stuff. And, you know, again, I don't have to worry about that whole, like, trying again to reach a little bit broader audience. You know, it's going to be, while things still are what they are here, again, this is just going to give it a better channel. Yeah, exactly. Cupcake 196 Cupcake. It's, you got to have like a certain way of consistently doing things, or you'll just end up kind of slowly. Yeah, my channel slowly grows. It always has. It's almost the same rate. It's unbelievably weird. Like the consistency, it's just the same amount almost every month. Some months are higher and spike, but most of the time things remain pretty consistent. So anyway, that's all the idea. And hopefully, like I said, all this will just result in two things: the production level and like the consistency over here on the main channel will be better. And then all the extra great gravy will be on the extra other channel. Remarkably unremarkable. There you go. Thank you very little. Okay. So that's the idea behind new stuff starting again very soon. I'm going to get all this ironed out. It's Monday. This is going to be something that's going to have multiple layers of content by next month's live stream update. Okay. We're going to do this kind of live stream update also for the shop and talk about how that's going. Okay. Now there's also physical new things going on here. I do already see, like, I really need to get that other stuff started because I want to do some other things where I'm even live streaming, working on hardware for the channel that's not even CRT specific. Like, I have a project coming up that's using CRTs, but I need to get gear ready for the CRTs. And I think that it's time to, like, I would rather live stream like me restoring old gaming consoles. I have a stack of a bunch of different Ataris, and then Xbox, OG Xboxes, ones, the originals, that I need to get done. And I just would like to do that with everybody. And, you know, Mike, Zez is like, he's gotten, and I'll talk about this in a second. So I'm glad you, let me finish on this note, and then I'll give you all an update on the CRT podcast with Zez. So there's going to be those restoration streams. I think that's the last thing about the new channel. And then there is physical shop expansion projects still going on here. Right now, I'm doing everything I can to increase storage on site with climate control ability. And that's really, really, really a big priority, and it's happening right now. So I'm hopefully by next month I will have like 30+% more space cleared out with proper shelving set up in the climate controlled area for more CRT storage and storage of bigger stuff. And then there's a studio expansion I'm still trying to work on. You know, as with everything, funding is everything. that's next door. That's in the unfinished room here. And that's just going to be more of a long-term goal project. Hopefully, I thought I'd get that done quicker, but it's just going to be something that needs to go as it goes. So let's say a really, yeah, okay, guys. Yeah, the people were asking about restorations, console restorations, yes. Console repairs, yes. And modifications, yes. So one of the things actually in the shop, I just have my Nest that is a top loader that I need to install the Laser Bear wire package for, because it's so old. It had the old wires on it and they were just worn out. So I had to do a modification on that. Yeah, we can do all kinds of things. We can do all kinds of these things. We can restore that stuff. We can restore Extron devices. I think maybe going through some of those things together live may be fun. And I think that other channel is going to be a place for all that. Now, let's talk about Zez. Zez, my friends, he started a new business with and we've talked about this before. So if you want to know more about it, you can definitely watch like his channel. He's talked about it a couple times. I've talked about it with him on the time he came to visit. It's like episode 3 this year on the channel, on the playlist, if you want to go back and watch it. Excuse me. But it's just a timing issue. He has had a lot of changes in life. He started the new business, so he's had to go, and a lot of the time, see, before when we were all, you know, in our houses, locked up, basically, no one had anywhere to go during COVID a lot of times. Zez and I started the whole channel show CRT podcast, and that's where it all came rooted is. We wanted to get better at it. We wanted to go together and do all this. And so that's where that started. We both had time. He had a different business then. And we both had this time block where we could get together regularly. That was the most important thing. Well, now my time and his time, they don't really match up as much. So he has to come on more as a guest on my show as opposed to us really having time to sit down and do the podcast like we normally had. And it's not going away forever or anything. There's going to be episodes of it drop randomly, but it's like fizzling off into the ether as like a legendary show at this point. All right. Yeah, and that's with this other idea, we can find devices that maybe we wouldn't normally talk about, that maybe more mainstream, that more people would want to restore, repair, something smaller that's less harmful, that's cooler than a CRT. So we can explore those through live streams, find these equipment, and then, like use that on the main channel. And then hopefully other people will do things. Again, console restorations. Thank you, William. Anyway, let's see. I can't think of anything else that's on here. That looks like every bit of notes that I have for the thing. Everything's good. As far as things coming for restorations, I'm still working on the Toshibas. I've been actually waiting for parts to arrive. I've been doing a terrible job of ordering all the parts I need from Mauser. They've been out here about every week dropping off stuff. And once they get the parts here, I'll be able to breeze through the 3 Toshiba restorations, and then we're going to move on to a larger Toshiba. And that's happening this month. And what else we've got? I've got some Commodore monitors. That's why you saw a Commodore, if you noticed in the thumbnail, where I was actually holding my head next to a Commodore monitor. I've got 2 of those showing up in about 10 days. 10 days. Or I don't know which way looks right to you. 10 days. That I will remind everybody that if you're looking, I have a lot of people reaching out to me right now that I think are trying to sell some CRTs. So if you are looking to buy a CRT that's really nice from like a collector that's been serviced. I'm about to add some information to the very first video on the Q&A, because people have been reaching out to me again that are Patreon members. Also, if you are a Patreon member, you get to go to like our Discord, and there's a Discord page where everybody shares either listings in their local area, or they have stuff they want to sell or want to buy. You can go there and inquire there. But I do have some people who have higher end CRTs that they need for reasons, you know, I know this is no joke. I mean, people are, you know, having troubles, but unfortunately too, it's a time when stuff in the collector market, there's not the fierce buying crave and frenzy that there was obviously 2 or 3 years ago. This higher inflation's really starting to set in on people, and it's really making everybody consider every purchase. They want to, even people who have the money want to get the best bang for their buck, and I completely understand it. It sucks because a lot of people are like, well, I need to move. I'm like, well, it's not the greatest time. It's not like 2 years ago when if you could have moved this stuff, you could have gotten a ridiculous amount of money for something like a BVM 32-inch multi-format CRT. And nowadays it's more of, you're not getting the money you were back in the day for that stuff, you know? So what do you think? You like Voltar's new bottle hopper? Anyway, folks, I really appreciate you joining me here today. If there's any questions, I'll hang out for a minute, and then I just want to say thank you, everybody who comes to these shows. I know a lot of you guys come a lot, and I'm sorry, I'm like a 5 or 12-year-old sometimes, and I really do have a lot of fun doing this and working here and being here with everybody, and just like, it's a dream come true the last decade to be able to move to this point and do all this with everybody, and have the whole community kind of going along. I mean, it really does make things a lot better. Yeah, and Hi God 9, that's a good project sometimes. Do a rack mount. That's a good idea. I would like to do that. See, that's what, thank you, Mike. That's what needs to happen. Okay, and Ronnie, I didn't even mention this. What I want to do too on the other channel, live streams, it would be incredibly awesome to bring on Patreon members. If they're like, you could put in a request to come on a live show, and we could schedule a live show, call-in show, right? I mean, how cool would that be? If we could do a live call-in show where you're able to come on and see. I can't really do that. I can't do that on this live, like this channel, because then it could screw this channel up. But that's something I could do on a smaller channel. That's the secondary channel. So like, you could call in and we could do questions. You could have, hey, I've got this, and then I could be like, boom, 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 boom. This is how you work on that, or like I've done calls before in the past, and where somebody calls, has a specific issue, and I work on it with them. They maybe it's just even disassembling a CRT to mail in a board. Oh yeah, there we go. Thank you. I should also see, that would be another place like to do a fitness. Or, hey, like I say, if I get everything right on the projects here, if I could do, it would greatly be fun to do a project on kind of weight training and fitness for, that's actually a serious topic. Most people are going to get injured by moving a CRT. That's going to be like the biggest problem is moving the CRT. Especially when you get older, like us guys. We're getting older. And yes, that's another thing, Mark. I've been like, somebody told me about the G2 mod, I don't know, 3 months ago, and I have had not a lot of time to do that. Yeah, Bob. That would be fun. Call-ins. I know. I'm like, nobody ever does a call-in show. I'm like, what happened to call-in shows? Again, I'm not doing that call-in show on my main channel, but I would love to do that on the second channel. So here's the thing, like you have to do, these videos are great ideas, but way to make it maximize is it has to be good. It has to be put together well, and that's why you have to take a little more time, because you put out a video and you don't do things almost exactly right, and you're going to be, the project just falls flat. This will be so that's kind of where things are going, guys and gals. Can't believe it. I had notes today. I mean, I actually prepared like I was going in front of a board meeting. And I didn't have specifics as far as like financials for you, and I'm not going to give you that. That's too spicy right now. But that's a plan. We need. I know you can't be variety or I don't know. Yeah, you know how it is. It's gonna be fun. I mean, I think it will be cool. And I mean, the calling show could turn into anything. Could turn into show and tell. It's just keep it clean, light, and all in good faith. Really would be fun. And then we could talk about things like, here's something we are getting so close now to almost the first freaking convention. Look at this. I'm going to show you all something. I'm going to show you all. This is the best convention season for me so far in the history of this lovely channel, entrepreneurial idea. Let's see who's on the list here. We're going to go down. I know it. Come on. I'm hiding. Oh, all right. So here we go. Good. All right. Let me switch you over here. I'm going to have some fun. Look at this. We are mere months, less than a couple months away. Less than a couple months away. And look at that. You get to see Bob. You get to see me. You get to see all these amazing people. Look at this. I mean, this is going to be the best. I'm pretty sure that, I don't know for sure, but it might just end up being Tito, Bob, and myself in a single booth. And I told the Lance, the guy from Retro World, that would be awesome. And then I wanted to be I was like, and I'm glad I'll get to meet Audi, and look at this, maybe even meet Lazy Game Reviews, right? How cool is that? Here we go. All right, so that's everybody, I guess, that's been announced this year. But I don't know if the normal guys like Tim, I was hoping maybe like Tim Kitzrow and the guys from, if they're going to be there, they'll be across from us again, because they are wild. And the brothers from Cena brothers from Mortal Kombat. Yeah, I think that the call-ins would be something really fun and a huge shake-up. You never know what will happen in a call-in show. Okay? That's always the fun part. And we could really maybe break through some things that have been questions for a long time. How happy Bob is with all those CRTs behind him. That's like the happiest smile he's got in front of all those CRTs. It's the best. Best headshot ever goes to Bob. Much better. Look, I'm even on that one. So that's coming up August 23rd to 25th. Please come. And I have big news on that front. I'll have that amazing CRT that you saw at the very beginning, the 36-inch KV, will be at the show in the booth with us for one day, I believe, only Saturday. And then, so there's that one on the books. Let's see if the other, let's see what else we can show you here. Let's see. This is the Music City Multicon, which is the second. Let's make sure. I always have to make sure I'm on these lists. This one's awesome. I'm going to be with Jake the Snake Roberts, baby. Yeah. You know that guy Bob, he gives some great head right there, fun friends. That's it. Yeah. Ooh. So, we're gonna get a chance to go down there and get bit by a big giant python, a big man python in the south. Jake the Snake. I got okay. I just had to make sure I was still here, cause you never know. One day you look on this list and they may just kick you off. All right. So there's not, like, that's the thing is, I'm on one of the, yeah, that's good. It's early, so they haven't released all the guests. And this one is November 8th to the 10th. Good to see you, Bob. See you later. November 8th to the 10th in Farm Bureau Expo Center in Lebanon, Tennessee, which is just outside of Nashville. This is a really inexpensive show to go to, and another fun one that you can kind of get a different experience. I'm interested always to see who shows up to this, and I'll be looking at those two lists of guests quite closely. I don't know the Death Do Us part. Look at these, some of these. All right, there you have it, folks. There you have it, guys. We got an hour in. I think that's a good time period for a call of this nature. For a business call of this nature. We'll leave Voltar's prototype for another conversation. Maybe when we can get him on the show, we can have him talk about things he's working on. Oh, all right, guys. Yeah, I'll be back. Please make sure you follow me on Twitter. Look for a post on this channel later this week. There's going to definitely be posts on Patreon and every other form of social media about the new channel. I'm excited to get this launch ready. And let's go and let's have a great week. And I will see you all next time. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Yeah, Mark, we can talk about that later. Merch. I'll tell you we'll talk about that. That's another that needs to be on next month's agenda for yeah. That should be on the agenda for next month's shareholder meeting, merchandise. Because I've been delaying that a little bit, not for any intentional reasons. It's just not had much time to work on it. Thanks again. I thank every one of you every time, man. You guys are great. I love having you here. I love getting to share conversations with you, hang out, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And I will see you on the next one. And yeah, just go out and have a wonderful day, everybody. See you later.